It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to this year's Wood Enterprise Institute. I've had quite a time with these, with the Wood Enterprise team, the WE team. It's very rewarding to me to see how they grow at the beginning of the semester. It's very rewarding to see how a lot of heated discussions ended up transforming into teamwork, and so I'm really proud of this group. They've come a long way, they really have. And I welcome you here today, and I want to recognize this year's group. They have a very diverse background. Scott McDonald comes to us from Oregon, and I have to remember all these things, but he brings to us kind of that West Coast professionalism, and I really appreciate that. I want to recognize also J.D. Santine. He's from Brazil, so he kind of brings us some perspective from the other hemisphere. And it's very interesting to see how he has kind of matured during this time. Andrew Bernard, I want to welcome you, and I really do appreciate your work. You've become quite a sander and quite a doer of cork. Conan Cook is really the kind of the driver behind the production. He kind of leads a lot of the problem solving. We have many problems to solve, and he's kind of been the driving force behind it. Conan, thank you for that. Matt Moore, he's been also in production. He's kind of had to link and interface with Conan because they kind of have two different parts of the product design, and so they had a lot of interesting discussions on to make those two designs work together. Will Rand. Will has been really instrumental in developing a relationship with outsourcing, and so we're very appreciative of the work that he's done in getting a fine quality finish on the product. John Diamond. John has been instrumental in the marketing efforts, in designing the brochure, and getting that information out to try to get customers. And then finally, I'd like to introduce Sean Crawford. Sean has been kind of everywhere doing market research, been working with the prototyping and the final design of linking with the IOP group in the packaging design. And so very, very diverse group of people, a lot of teamwork had to go together to put this together. So again, I would like everybody to join me with an applause for this group's achievements. And you're going to hear from them what they're going to say. So welcome. And now I turn it over to the group meeting, starting off with Scott.
Thanks so much, Dr. Glenn. So the WE is a really interesting program. It started off as a special study in the summers of 2007 and 2008. And the intent of the course was to have a concept to market where a group of students makes a business from the ground up. You decide on a product, you do new product development, you research your markets, you decide how you can build a product, and then you do take it to market and try to sell the product. In both those years combined, they sold approximately 400 units. After the success over 2 summers, they decided to make the course into a year-long class during the fall and spring semesters in 2009. So that 2009-2010 school year, they decided to once again do the new product development. They decided on clocks as their item, and they sold approximately 120 units. We are currently the 4th iteration of the WE. The mission statement is a little lengthy, but what it basically says is that we want to do that concept market. We want to have an opportunity for students to be able to learn in a business about a business. So the idea of coming to the course with some background from our actual coursework and being able to make a product, design a product, and sell a product, and act as a business with the financial backing of our department. Our vision statement is also here. The idea is that you want to develop leadership, you want to learn how to collaborate in a group, and you want to have a hands-on experience. We have 4 core values here. We call them the 4 M's. What basically they are is you want to meet the demands of the customers, you want to minimize your cost, you want to maximize your efficiency, and you want to market a high-quality product. So next up, We have our organization. We are overseen by two different faculty. We have Dr. Klein as our faculty advisor. We have Dave Jones here as our shop manager. We are organized into 4 different groups. We have a production team, and what that does is that's the student side of shop management, process controls, manufacturing, packaging, and procurement. We have the marketing team, which does market materials, data acquisition, interpretation. So what that is in terms of market research, going out, seeing what kind of logos people want, see if people like our product, how we can change our product, taking that data and then turning it into useful facts and figures. They also deal with sales and making sure that everything's heading out the door when it's supposed to. We have a business department as well. The idea for that is often students can procure things a little bit faster than the department can, so we always want to be able to reimburse people who are spending their own money. We want to make sure that we're not completely operating in the red and using too much funding. So that's what that department is for, to keep us in check. And then we have our technology department. The idea is that that's going to be your engraving, you're going to have your website development, online ordering, and your social media integration. Next up, we have Matt Moore with new product development.
Alright, so I'm Matt Moore. I was in charge of coming up with our new product. And we wanted something that's a little bit cheaper than the clocks and bookshelves, so students could afford them. And we came up with the coasters and coaster holders. And to start off, in the top left, we kind of just had a square shape, and we didn't really like it, so we started cutting off corners, trying to create a better product that had like a higher quality. And we came over to the little stop sign design that you can see in the top right, and it still wasn't quite there yet to where we would have liked it. So we came down here to the bottom left. We got the cork inlay to kind of absorb some of the moisture coming off the condensation on your glasses. And we still didn't think it was quite as high of a quality as we would have liked. So we got our final coaster design over there on the bottom right, which we went back to the square and just rounded over the edges and kept the cork inlay. We think it looks a lot nicer that way. Now going on, we got our 5 different prototype designs with a little different iteration on the 5th one. And with these, we took a market research survey in front of DX, and there's about 50 people that took the survey, and they ended up liking the one in the bottom right better, so we stuck with that one. And then for our final design, we got the 4x4 coaster that just got the rounded edges, the cork inlay, and we can engrave that to give them a couple different customizable options. And then we got the holder. It's got the dado slots cut in it at a 7-degree angle, so you can stand the coasters up in it and show off the design on the front of them. And that's about 5 inches long and it's an inch thick. So they're real small, don't take up a lot of space, and it looks very nice. With that, I'm going to hand it off to JD to talk about the market.
Thanks, Matt. To better explain the target market, I would like to mention the bookshelves and clocks from previous Wii generations. Their product were kind of a little expensive, was around $40 to $50, and not very much appeal to students. So what we thought is, what kind of product we would develop to reach students, to reach their attention, and what kind of price we should target, so then students would be buying our product, and not only alumni and faculty as was in the previous years with the bookshelves and the clocks. So our main target market was the students. And in order to better see what they wanted to see in our product, we kind of developed some markets researches in front of DX, and we came up with some questions to see, for example, what kind of logo they would like engraved in their cork. And then we gave them some options, and we also opened space so they could write which one they would like to see as like personalized engravings. And then we came up with some numbers to see what would be the best to start massive production. And then also with that, we could kind of see what about arrangement of logos. Would they like just separate logos or one logo for all of the 4 coasters? Price was a big issue at the beginning because we had no idea what our production costs and everything, and then that took a while to figure it out. But once we figured it out, we also tried to see from their position what kind of price they would be willing to pay. It's a new strategy, but we could also get some insights and then figure out ourselves what kind of price we should be setting our product with. And then we come up with a price range around $25 for the coaster set. So I mean, we also had to think about our production limits. So based on our production limits and how much we wanted to target them, we based our price around $25. And also to figure out if they will be thinking about buying this coaster set to themselves or to families, in order to figure out what would be the best way to target the market. We asked them who would they buy the coasters for, and the most common answer was they would be buying for their families. So that would also give us an idea of how to position our product in the industry. And now for the business results, I'd like to invite Colin Cook to talk about it.
Ms. Gunn, talk to you about production, which was my area that I was involved in this year. Basically what it is, we had the rough lumber and they have a shop across the hall where we take the rough lumber, create it into pretty much 4-foot plank. It's been planed to the right thickness, and pretty much that's it. When we bring it over here, and we have our machine operations, which took place in the bleach shop behind us here, where we would turn the 4-foot planks into coasters. Then after that, we'd have to get them finished, which we had to outsource, which we talked about later. And then we had the laser engraving that we did here on the cork that we then put into the coaster afterwards. These are some of the numbers we got. As you can see, there's most of the time we spend in the rough mill, sanding, and the laser engraving. And that's where some of our quality issues, we managed to get most of our quality out of the wood, lumber, and the rough mill. But you can see they slowly increased our quality yield. Every process we try to take out more and more defects until finally by the end product. With sanding, we pretty much was our last step. We pretty much had 100% quality. We've already taken all those out, all the defects out. And then talk about product quality. We were running a lot of issues this year with variation, and this is just one of the examples. We were having all our coasters in the holders, and they would be leaning at different angles. So we did a root cause analysis and determined why that was happening. What we discovered was the dado blade was actually just a little bit wider than ½ inch, which we thought it was. Planer was cutting a little bit lower than the setting on the board, so then we had that double the effect for the size issue. And then our sanding, we had no standard work. So every sanding was a little different, and the thickness would change, and then you get these leaning at different angles. Once we got those issues corrected, and you can see on some of our examples over here, they lean a lot better, they're all the same, and worked out pretty well. Now I'm going to hand over to Will Rand.